Hi, I'm David Cross, and tonight we're going to talk about Georgia's alternate electors and why they're not fake electors, and why I disagree with Fani Willis. Coming to the news near you on August 1st, Fani Willis's office is going to arrest several people for election crimes, for being fake electors. So, fact number one, as we all know, is Georgia's 2020 election was contested. Everybody knows this. What you don't know is what the rules are that are surrounding contested elections. Fact number two, the electors followed their attorney's advice. Not just one, not two attorneys, five. Five attorneys all concurred that they were doing the correct and proper thing under the United States Constitution. Fact number three, this exact situation occurred in 1960 when Richard Nixon was running against John F. Kennedy. And in Hawaii, they were having their first presidential vote, and it was so close. I think it came down to like 150 votes, but initially it was called for Richard Nixon. But the electors got together for John F. Kennedy, and they cast their ballots as Electoral College electors because it was a contested election. Fact number four, Kennedy's electors were hailed as heroes. Judge Ronald Jameson, whose files are now in the Kennedy Museum, noted that it was so important that the uncertified Democratic presidential electors that they had met on December 19, 1960, as prescribed by the Electoral Count Act, he hailed them as heroes, describing their meeting as a critically important step that preserved their ability for their presidential ballots to be counted so that Hawaii would not be excluded from the electoral count. Fact number five, Democrats supported the exact same strategy in 2000. So in Florida, there was a contested election between Bush and Gore, and they went all the way to court. Democratic Congresswoman Patsy Mink of Hawaii, of all places, publicly advocated for the submission of two elector slates from Florida to Congress in the 2000 election. And she knew that they needed to do it so that just in case one of the slates of electors was not able to be used, there was a backup to take their place. Because if you don't have a backup, then the state is not represented and they have no votes in the Electoral College. Fact number six, the Republican electors were totally transparent. The press was there. Greg Bluestein with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it's hard to say that name, he was even there, took pictures, he tweeted about it, David Schaefer tweeted about it. Everybody who was there was smiling and taking pictures because they knew that they were upholding their constitutional duties as prescribed by the Electoral College Act. Fact number seven, the Republican electors lawfully cast ballots. So, upon the filing of an action contesting a presidential election under the Georgia Election Code, both the certified but contested and the uncertified but contesting presidential electors become contingent presidential electors by operation of law. If you're not a lawyer, and I'm not, but at least I do know what operation of law means. It means by default. So the law says that this is the way that it works. In a contested election, both sides cast their ballots. So take a look at this and read this carefully. Again, fact number seven, the Republican electors lawfully cast their ballots. If the state certifies the contingent winner as the actual and final winner on or before the date set forth by Electoral College for the presidential electors to cast their ballots, it would deprive the state of all of its electoral votes should the contesting candidate ultimately prevail in his or her judicial contest. Judicial. Remember judicial. We just have the Secretary of State running around, trying to figure out who won, and no evidence was heard in court. Everything was denied for lack of standing. On December 30th, 1960, John F. Kennedy prevailed in Hawaii. in the judicial contest, means he went to court, and the election was recertified in his favor. Because the Democratic presidential electors had cast their ballots back on December 19th, 1960, which was the precise form required by the Constitution, Congress was able to and did count the votes from Hawaii when it met on January 6th. So it followed the law, and Congress got it right. It's not for Fani Willis to decide. It's not for the state to decide. It's for Congress to decide. Fact number 8, the Electoral College Act anticipates that there will be competing electors sometimes. Fact number 9, and we're almost done. There's no law written or punishment prescribed. So basically, the Constitution says that no man shall be held criminally responsible for conduct which he could not reasonably understand to be prescribed. That basically means that if you look in a law book and says, if you murder somebody, you're either going to get the death penalty or you're going to go to jail forever, ever, ever. But if you look through the law books and thumb through there and try to figure out what is the penalty if I meet with other people and cast ballots as electors, there's nothing in there. It doesn't exist. So the law says that because it's not written down and no person could reasonably find it, you can't be violating the law. You have to have a fair warning given to you. That's never been done in the United States of America. Fact number 10, the state has no jurisdiction to prosecute, nor does Fani Willis. So under the Supremacy Clause, which basically says that in matters that deal with the federal government's rules take effect, not the state or what the state wishes it to be. The state has no jurisdiction to criminalize actions such as the casting of or determination of the validity of presidential electoral ballots. Fact number 10, the state has no jurisdiction to prosecute. So because presidential electors are created by the U.S. Constitution, the state has no authority here. And further, the 12th Amendment commits exclusive authority to Congress to adjudicate and count the electoral votes of presidential electors. It's not up to the state. It's up to Congress. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit passionate about this. So I wrote to Fani Willis and I said, I think you're doing the wrong thing. Do you think I've heard anything? No. I wrote to her last year. I said I thought that she was going after the lady down in Coffee County and persecuting her, and I thought that was the wrong thing. And she's ignoring material facts. Didn't matter. She's not answering me, and I don't expect her to. But you can write to her if you want to. I also filed a bar complaint against Fani Willis. So that was something I did just recently because I think she's violated the Constitution and she's not looking out for my rights. And she's certainly wasting time on this case as opposed to spending her time on the rising crime that's happening in Atlanta and in Fulton County in particular. If you'd like to see the documents referenced in this video, please go to gaballots.com where you can see everything you like. And please, if you can, support the Electors Legal Fund by contributing to the Georgia GOP by going to gagop.org. Thanks for watching.